Good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening in the business world. Obviously, the big story is the government shutdown that's occurring. We got some stories related to that. If you're traveling anytime soon, folks, well, buckle up because it's going to be some delays out there. We got those stories coming up for you, along with the Market Watch, stocks we're paying attention to, and then stories national and local that you need to know to keep you informed and just kind of the time frame that we're dealing with here in the marketplace. And with all that being said, let's get right into it with that Market Watch. Yesterday, we saw that first kind of day of sell-off happening on the market around the uncertainty of the government shutdown. Well, today, people are kind of looking past the government shutdown. As you see, everything right now in the green. Dow Jones right now up 41 points to 46,667. S&P 500's up 32 points to 6751. The Nasdaq's up 204 points right now to 22,993. And then the Russell 2000, that small cap index, 8 points up here today, 2483 for the Russell 2000. And then Bitcoin doing some rebounding itself. Well, it's up to the 123,917 number. Right now, of course, trading in the 125,000 range here on Monday, coming back down yesterday and back up to that right there, that 120, just crossed over the 124,000 right now as I'm speaking. So Bitcoin making those big moves. Stocks we're paying attention to right now as well. Let's look at the mining stock we've been paying attention to a lot lately. Freeport-McMoRan, of course, local company out there doing some copper mining and 5.41% up here today. As Citi upgraded them to buy, they expect copper prices actually to rally in the first half of 2026. Higher copper prices mean, they sell stuff at higher pricing, makes more money as well. So that news there of that copper price expectation in 26 causing this stock to go up today as it's been fluctuating with that shutdown of that mine and where was that? Guatemala or Indonesia, I think it was. With that mine shut down, and we've been watching this stock very closely lately. And then there's a satellite communications company out there called Viasat. We'll look at their stock. They're up today 11.09%. Well, they won a contract from the U.S. Space Force's projected Tactical SATCOM Global Program. What a program name there. Viasat is one of 5 companies inside of that program. It will build a network of satellites with anti-jamming capabilities. So big news there for that satellite communications company. 10.80% up for Viasat today with that news. And then Joby Aviation, been in the news a lot at the beginning of the year, not so much lately, but they're that electric air taxi company we talk about here, down today, 8.14% right now. They priced a secondary stock offering at 30.5 million shares. They priced it at $16.85 each. As you can see, that is below the current market price of the stock, even with it being down 8% today. So big slide here based off of that. They're going to raise $514 million in this secondary stock offering here for Joby Aviation. When we come back later on and look at stocks, we're going to look at a company called AST Space Mobile. Wait till you hear what they're doing, because we're all waiting for this. I mean, we all can't live without it. We're all going to get what we've been waiting for. We'll talk about that. Trilogy Metals, Fair Isaac, and then NVIDIA is in the news today as well. We'll talk about those 4 stocks when we come back and look at stocks later on. But obviously with this government shutdown, that's the big news around, obviously the government side. We're not getting any reports around the economy. It is affecting businesses as well, as businesses aren't purchasing. And now we've kind of been watching one industry here with the shutdown, and that's basically the airline industry. And now U.S. airlines are bracing for a third straight day of delays here today. And it's all because the FAA faces not just, the shutdown, but higher than normal staffing issues for their air traffic controllers and TSA agents as well. Now, this is all partly due. There's always been staffing issues for the air traffic controllers lately, but a lot of this has to do with, of course, funding the government and the issues there with the shutdown. Nearly 10,000 flight delays in total on Monday and Tuesday of this week, many tied to the FAA slowing flights because of air traffic controller absences at many of the facilities across the country. Remember, we talked about the Burbank Hollywood one, where there was no air traffic controllers in there one afternoon over the weekend, being controlled by San Diego at that time. As government shutdowns in its eighth day, we're seeing huge pressure here on the air traffic control side of the industry. Air traffic control staffing issues during this shutdown, well, they've emerged earlier than they have in other major shutdowns, specifically the one in 2019 as well. That was done during also President Trump's first term. And you know, the air traffic controllers and TSA at that time, they're actually the ones that are credited for ending the shutdown, but that was a 35-day shutdown at that time. Now these shortages are happening quicker than they did last time. The number of absences by controllers and TSA officers back in 2019 on that 35-day shutdown, well, it rose as workers missed paychecks, extending checkpoint wait times at some airports. Authorities were forced to slow down air traffic in New York. That puts pressures on lawmakers to end that standoff in 2019, and they ended it. Mainly, they're credited for ending it, the air traffic and the airline industry as a whole doing it. Well, 13,000 air traffic controllers and about 50,000 Transportation Security Administration officers, those are obviously TSA security, well, they have to turn up for work here during the government shutdown, but they're not being paid. Controllers are, though, air traffic controllers are set to receive a partial paycheck on October 14th, but that would be for work performed before the shutdown. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, he said on Monday the FAA has seen a slight increase in controllers calling in and taking sick leave, and air traffic staffing has been cut by 50% in some areas since the shutdown started last Wednesday, October 1st. So if you're traveling anytime soon, pay attention to this. There's going to be delays, going to be slowdowns. So check, obviously, with your airports and your airlines before you head down to the airport and everything. I was watching a video earlier today. A famous TikTok person was traveling to Detroit for the baseball game today. Well, he didn't make it. He got to the airport, and they said there was a couple-hour delay in the flight. Well, that would make him late for the baseball game, so they just canceled the flight and came home and just stayed home at that point. So it is a real thing happening, and that I believe that is what's going to end this, is pressure will be put on everybody. Just how soon will that pressure happen on that side? Another thing in terms of airlines and everything, there's a flagship carrier over in China. It's called Costco, COSCO, not like our shopping center there. They're the world's fifth largest container airline. Container line. We're talking ships now, not airplanes. I'm in airplane mode, folks. Subsidiary of theirs, Orient Overseas Container Line of Hong Kong. Well, they have come out and said they won't levy surcharges to offset the fees on Chinese-built and operated ships calling U.S. ports to be. The fees are coming in, and they're going to be implemented October 14th. So they say they're going to eat those fees. Other liner operators scramble to drop calls and shift some of the Chinese tonnage. Well, Costco advised customers in the U.S. that it plans no changes to services ahead of the punitive fees that are coming in under the authority of the United States Trade Representative. The fees which do escalate, by the way, in the coming years. It could cost Costco as a company, the shipping company, and the OOCL company, as much as $2.1 billion. That's just in 2026. It could be absorbed by subsidies from Beijing, meaning the Chinese government is going to basically pay them back a lot of those fees. This ship tax, it aims to blunt China's maritime dominance and boost American shipping and shipbuildings. It charges Chinese-owned or operated ships $80 per net tonnage for each voyage that they make to the U.S. Non-Chinese operators will be charged the greater of $23 per ton or $154 per 20-foot equivalent unit capacity. So you can see China is being charged a lot more than other companies and other nationalities. The fees apply to up to 5 times annually per vessel. So roll-on, roll-off vehicle carriers will pay a rate of $14 per net ton. The fees increase by $5 per ton annually until April of 2028. And the interesting thing about this is these fees have to be paid in advance of arrival. Otherwise, you won't be allowed to dock. You won't be able to platform. You won't be able to deplatform. And here's the interesting thing. You have to go to pay.com platform on the internet and pay it before you show up. You have to show proof of payment, or like I said, you will be denied entry or even the cargo operations here at the U.S. ports. That's coming in. A couple companies saying they're not going to pass it along to their customers. And Beijing, obviously China seeing this coming into effect on October 14th. Well, in late September, Beijing passed new maritime laws that do allow it to levy its own retaliatory port fees. And they can even bar access to ports and data for vessels from countries that discriminate against China. That's how their laws are stated. So shipping, at least in terms of the tariffs, shipping is not going to go up on that tariff side with these shipping companies. And it'd be interesting to see any retaliation side. And a lot of our stuff comes via sea, folks, over here to the United States. A lot of our products we buy and things to that effect. So be interesting to see how that does work out there. And yesterday we looked at Ford stock during our stocks to pay attention to. And it was all around a fire that happened at a New York aluminum plant. We told you yesterday that fire is expected to affect Ford and its production line, specifically the Ford Motor Company's F-150 truck. It's going to affect them for months. They say it's going to end up causing about $1 billion in revenue issues with Ford. And here, this is all from that estimation of $1 billion is from a company called Evercore ISI Analyst. Is where they say it's going to be. If you can't make F-150s, well, the best-selling truck in America, obviously will have a harder time buying, price increases, and stuff like that coming up. This was that blaze that happened September 16th at Novelis. It's expected to take much of the aluminum factory down after that fire till the first quarter of 2026. That's what the company told Reuters of how bad their factory was affected by the fire. So obviously that's going to affect specifically the Ford's best-selling F-150 trucks through the end of this year and into 2026 until that plant is fully back up. This is a huge supply chain disruption to Ford, and it's the latest challenge as well for Ford because it's weathering elevated steel and aluminum prices, a fast-changing trade environment, and a battered supplier base that's emerging from work stoppages during not just the COVID pandemic, but the 2023 union strike that hit Ford as well out there. So Ford taking another big hit. This one not their fault, right? And nothing they could do about it with that fire. But heads up, if you're looking to buy an F-150 or in the market for one here, you think by the end of the year, some things are going to be affecting your purchase there as well. And, not just Ford struggling out there, but Tesla's been struggling. We've looked at their stock multiple times this year, and it's down mostly for the year. Well, they finally did what Elon Musk has been saying he's going to do for a while. They unveiled on Tuesday lower price versions of his Model Y SUV and the Model 3 sedan for Tesla. So they priced the standard, is what they're calling it. It's going to be the base version of the Model Y and Model 3. Well, the Model Y standard price is $39,990. And the Model 3 standard price, $36,990. The standard version of both vehicles features an estimated range of 321 miles, top speed of 125 miles for both of those cars. My Chevy Blazer gets 300 with the AC off, 285 with the AC on. So right in that range there. Chief Executive Elon Musk has for years promised mass market vehicles. So last year, he canceled plans to build that all-new $25,000 EV. And obviously these ones are a little bit more expensive on this. Instead, he chose to build affordable versions based on Tesla's current models. That obviously is causing concerns to investors and analysts that the cheaper cars are going to actually cannibalize sales of existing vehicles and limit the growth of them. Yeah, you just come out with a cheaper version of the Y, people just go buy the cheaper version of the Y instead of the full model ones. So despite a boost from a strong third quarter, analysts expect Tesla's annual deliveries to decline for a second consecutive year to about 1.62 million vehicles. Lower demand due to expiration of the EV purchase tax credits is a big reason why, but also the political headwinds from that Doge work Elon Musk did earlier the year. They're still out there, and people still refuse to buy those cars based off of that. Wall Street does expect Tesla's deliveries to rebound next year, 2026, 1.8 million, 5 million vehicles next year. The cheaper model they say, will account for 155,610 units in 2026. That's according to some estimates I've seen out there from people that follow that type of stuff. So, cheaper models are going to push people into the Tesla line that otherwise didn't want to spend $60,000 for a car. But are people that were looking at the higher end models now going to buy the lower end models? Is the bigger question, especially with interest rates and the economy doing what it's doing right now. And if you're traveling and you're from Canada and you travel down here to Arizona, I know winter's coming up here. So a lot of Canadians are coming down here to Arizona again. And if you're going to fly WestJet, heads up, some changes are coming for them. For those of you that don't know, WestJet is a Canadian airline, a discount one out there. They've now introduced updated cabin interiors for their airlines on select Boeing aircraft coming up. They added 3 distinct seat classes. They're charging extra for seats that can recline, folks. Seriously. What do? Put a quarter in the seat and then it allows you to recline? The changes were announced by the airline on September 23rd. By the way, that was a joke. You don't do that. You have to buy the seat that will recline. Just to clarify. The changes were announced by the airline back on September 23rd, and it's the first aircraft with the new reconfigurations expected to enter service later this month for WestJet. So pay attention if you fly these guys and you like to get a little relaxation in. By early next year, 42 additional refreshed Boeing 737-8 MAX planes and 737-800s will be available for passenger travel for WestJet. C classes include premium, extended comfort, and then economy level. Those wanting their seats to recline, well, you'll need to book the premium seats. Here's the problem, folks. There's only 12 of them, of the premium seats per plane. Yes. So if you want a reclining seat, you get 12. WestJet explains the changes to passengers on its website. They even state on their website that the back of the cabin, rows 20 to 31, they offer the least amount of space back there. So they're telling you right up front, which they should do, hey, you want to sit back there and save some money? Plan to be uncomfortable to your trip to Canada or here to Phoenix or wherever WestJet services. And you're going to see more of this coming up from the airlines as they try to plan more. But if the idea is to get more people to buy seats and only offering 12 reclining seats, I don't get it, right? If you want a seat to recline and you need it to recline and you don't have one of those 12, you're not going to fly the airline, right? Another thing we're seeing out there, right? We talk a lot about shrinkflation here, where prices stay the same, but you see it a lot on the ice cream right now. For a while there, where the prices were staying the same, but the size was shrinking. You've seen it a lot with Frito-Lay, a lot of things there with the Pepsi products. The chips are less chips in the bags, and the bags are shrinking, price staying the same. Well, Coca-Cola is going to introduce those mini 7.5-ounce single-serve cans of some of its sodas in the U.S. convenience stores early next year. What they're looking to do by putting these smaller cans into these convenience stores, they're hoping that consumers concerned about the price of stuff and also calorie-conscious consumers will be attracted to the smaller, cheaper drink sizes. Later this year, Coke will also introduce glass bottles of Coca-Cola soda and sweetened with cane sugar, which is what they call now Mexican Coke, for instance. That's healthier for you, better than that high fructose corn syrup products out there. And folks, I love my Cokes and stuff, but I am all over the cane sugar. It's not that much better for you, but it is way better than that high fructose corn syrup. I'm looking forward to that hitting the shelves out there. Take my money for that, Coke. Right? The president of commercial leadership for its North American operating unit, his name is Mr. Bishop out there, Joel Bishop. Well, he has come out and he said Coke has seen choppy demand for its sodas in the U.S. Most of its sales increases, well, they're not coming because you're buying more of it. It's coming because of price hikes. Volume growth isn't happening, and any revenue increases from their price hikes. Kind of disappointing to see. a pullback in spending by all customers are doing it, but they're actually blaming the Hispanic consumers a lot for the pullback of Coca-Cola as well. A lot of it being the high fructose side of things and going more healthier there on the for the Hispanic clientele there of Coke. A new single serve mini cans, well, they're aimed at getting more consumers to not just try Coke, but also, go back to Coke again if they're worried about the price and stuff to that effect. The single suggested retail price for the individual mini cans is $1.29. Each can is 90 calories versus 240 calories for that 20-ounce plastic bottle that you see now out there. I don't think that's a cheap enough price for $1.29 for a 7.5 when you can get the 20 bottle one there for $2. I don't think the price is priced right, right? Yeah. The company's most popular offering in convenience stores is that 240 calorie one, that 20-ounce plastic bottle. That's the most popular offering there. Coke Zero Sugar, Cherry Coke, Sprite, Fanta, and there will be other new flavors will be offered in the mini cans as well. Diet Coke will be in those single-serve cans in areas of the U.S. where the product is popular, but not everywhere. If you want those mini cans and Diet Coke. Larger packs of mini cans, they're available at grocery and big box stores. Obviously, you can see find those in Costco and Kroger. You can find those mini cans right now at those retailers. They're just talking about putting them in convenience stores coming up. So Quick Trips, Circle K's, etc. there. And you got to make, if you're going to shrink it, you got to make the price worthwhile. $1.29 for a mini can? Really? Johnson & Johnson has been just up to their neck in these lawsuits over talc powders and everything. Well, not getting any better anytime soon. A Los Angeles jury ordered Johnson & Johnson to pay $966 million to one family of a woman who died from mesothelioma. Look at that. Nailed that word. Finding the company liable in the latest trial, alleging that talc products cause her cancer and that they do cause cancers out there. Johnson & Johnson's been in these lawsuits for a long time. We've kind of chronicled them here at McCollum on Business. Well, the family of Maymore is the person's name who died. She was a California resident. She died at 88 years old back in 2021. The family sued Johnson & Johnson that same year, claiming that their talc baby powder products contained asbestos fibers and they caused her rare cancer. The jury this week on Monday ordered Johnson & Johnson to pay $16 million in compensatory damages and a $950 million in punitive damages to the family. The verdict, well, it's probably going to be reduced, but it could be reduced on appeal. The U.S. Supreme Court has found that punitive damages should generally be no more than 9 times compensatory damages. I'm not a math major, but that's way more than 9 times the 16 million compensatory damages on that side, right? So you do expect it to come down, but it's still a big chunk of money and message sent to Johnson & Johnson. Well, the Johnson & Johnson's worldwide vice president of litigation, he's got a stressful job these days. His name is Eric Haas. He said in a statement that the company plans to immediately appeal. He calls the verdict not just egregious, but also unconstitutional. The company has said and maintained its products are safe, do not contain asbestos, and do not cause cancer. Keep in mind also they've said that all along, but then Johnson & Johnson stopped selling talc-based baby powder in the United States in 2020. That's when they switched to that cornstarch version of the product at that time. Mesothelioma, by the way, it's linked directly to asbestos exposure at that time. So I don't understand the lawsuits on this because obviously at one time in this country's history, asbestos was everywhere and everybody was breathing it in. But Johnson & Johnson definitely having these lawsuits, so an update there on one of those asbestos lawsuits. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep today rolling. We're going to talk some gas prices here in our region with that fire in California at one of those refineries. It's affecting us, folks. Plus, we'll talk some other local stuff, and then we'll get into some, I'm going to say some fun stuff here at the end of the show. You want to stay tuned for that. Come on back, folks. It's McCollum on Business. And you just saw an ad there for the Pit Stop. The Look Back show is up on demand at Robat TV, of course, on the free YouTube page as well. And then for the Pit Stop, just do a search on YouTube for the Pit Stop with Steven, and it pops right up. Of course, also free podcast as well for that. On Podbean right now, you can check that out. The Look Ahead show to racing this weekend coming up in Las Vegas. We'll have that show up tomorrow for everybody. Of course, the main event is in the can for today as well. Head coach of Scottsdale Christian Academy joined us as he does every Wednesday. Mike Sheehan. Of course, they have a big game this week. Phoenix Christian, as they're battling there, also 7-0. Next two games are going to be tough for SCA out there. He joins us, of course, on demand at Robat TV as well. YouTube as well for the full show, but also in the interview section, just the head coach's stuff is there for you as well. Of course, free podcasts. All the major podcast systems have the main event there for you. Go ahead and listen to that, subscribe, and like as well. We'd appreciate it very much. Of course, this show live at 11 o'clock. As soon as we're done, put it up on demand at Robat TV. Then also put it up there on the YouTube channel. And then you've noticed at Robat TV, the first 3 episodes of The Real Matrix is out. The Angry Patriot. Well, he's got a guest for the first couple of shows. Dale Hellestrade joins him. But it is up on Robat TV, the first 3. There is a podcast version on Podbean only right now. We're going to get it out to all the other podcast systems as well. If you go to Podbean, search The Real Matrix, it pops right up for you as well. First 3 episodes are ready for you starting Wednesday next week. We'll have a new episode every week coming your way of The Real Matrix there as well. And then also coming to YouTube as well for you. And we're working on it right now, maybe to a couple other social media sites that, have that type of listening to it as well. So stay tuned for all of that. But if you're interested in that type of talk, want to know what they're talking about, well, it's up at Robat TV right now for you. And we're going to get it up on the YouTube channels just to let you know later on today as well. We're letting it roll there on Robat, get all the kinks out of the system and everything. And it's there. And, man, we're just excited to have another program here. Of course, underneath my purview here at Robat TV and my production company. And if you want to do a show, don't hesitate to hit us up. You want to just be a guest here at McCollum on Business? You have a business, you'd like to talk business, you're a realtor, mechanic, etc. We can interview you. We'd love to interview you and have you on the program as well. So definitely hit us up as well on any of that information. And with all that being said, let's get right back into that Market Watch. It's a good day on the market after yesterday's kind of mini sell-off that happened. Right, everything's up today. Dow Jones up up 50 points right now. The Dow Jones is. The S&P 500's up to 34 points right now. Nasdaq's up 228 points. Russell 2K, yes, that small cap index up 4 points here today. So slightly up for that, but then Bitcoin rebounding nicely today, back into that mid 120,000 range, 123,666. Of course, earlier in the show, we looked at it. It hit 124,000. So a little bit of a retreat for that. But remember last Monday, not this Monday that we just hit, but the one before, it was trading at 109,000 at that time. So quite the increase here for that as well. So we're just getting word right now from the divided Fed when their minutes show from their last meeting, where, of course, they cut the quarter rate interest rate there. Well, the minutes there show they do see another 2 interest rate cuts by the end of 2025, but it is a divided Fed in those thoughts. And, of course, since then, we've seen the Fed chairman and a couple other Fed people that vote on this come out and say maybe not another rate cut coming anytime soon. So that news is hitting right now as those minutes are released. And stocks we're paying attention to right now, first one, a company called AST Space Mobile. All I got to say is I've been postponing my vacation to the moon for just one reason. And now that that reason is solved, well, now I can finally get that vacation booked. Yeah, AST Space Mobile is a broadband cellular network, and it's up today 10.13% right now. They signed a deal with Verizon to provide customers with cell service from space, folks, starting in 2026. Finally, the reason that's been, I just want to be able to make a phone call while I'm barreling through space. So now my big worry is gone. I'll be able to stay in communication there. Verizon, by the way, no graph on this. Verizon did dip about 0.4% here today off of this news as well, but cell phone service coming to space starting in 2026. Trilogy Metals is the next stock that we're going to look at right now. All of these metals, all of these types of companies are getting ran up, and then when it doesn't happen, it's getting run down. Well, Trilogy Metals is the latest company that's being run up. This is the U.S. listed shares of this company. They're a Canadian copper explorer company. They added, like I said, 2.92% today. Yesterday, they tripled in price as the day went on because yesterday the White House said the U.S. would take a 10% stake in the company. And this company is looking to do a new mine up in Alaska in a remote area there. So U.S. 10% stake here by the U.S. government into this company. Big run up for this company based off of that news as well. And I saw earlier also some of the companies we've paid attention to the last couple of days because rumors are they're in communication. Well, they've been run down here today because the deals have not come through as expected. Next company and stock we're going to look at, Fair Isaac. We've been paying attention to this stock a lot lately. This is FICO for those of you that pay attention to your credit score closely. Well, they're down 8.11% right now, Fair Isaac is. Equifax came out, and they said its Vantage Score 4.0 mortgage credit scores. This is the one that goes directly to mortgage companies. They can bypass FICO. Well, the Equifax is saying it's going to cost $4.50 for 2 years. That's less than half the price of FICO's pricing. FICO taking a huge hit today, 7.96% here today based off of that Equifax news. No graph on this, but Equifax, as I looked at it earlier today, it was up about 2% off of the news here as well. They're going directly after Fair Isaac Corporation, not just in pricing, but also basically trying to make them null and void here with this Vantage Score 4.0 mortgage system that's coming out there. So pay attention to that in terms of credit scores and everything. And then we're going to add an extra stock here. NVIDIA is what we're going to look at as well. They're up to 1.96% right now. Well, the reports are out there that NVIDIA will help finance XAI chips as part of a $20 billion deal for their chips to be bought. You'll be able to finance with them if you're a large companies looking to buy them. So that news coming out, and NVIDIA obviously going up today based off of that news as well here today. I saw the CEO of NVIDIA also was kind of shocked that OpenAI took that what was that 10% deal, I think it was, into AMD earlier this week or end of last week. He said it was a surprise deal. So he's taken notice as well on the moves happening around these AI stocks here coming up. Now let's hit up a couple local stories, and we'll finish up with a couple national stories on hopefully a good note here. But gas prices, brace yourself if you have got a gas guzzler out there. Well, because they're expected to spike here, the gas prices are in our region. The increase obviously is being blamed on that massive fire there at that Chevron refinery in California that happened last week. So the fire's out, but the refinery is going to be offline for a while, rebuilding it and getting it back up, which means gasoline prices, especially areas like Maricopa County that get our gas from California, means gas prices are expected to go up here. So it's not just happening in Arizona as well. It's happening in Nevada, California, Oregon, Idaho. So this whole region here that gets gas from the Southern California area are dealing with these price increases. Gas Buddy, of course, is out there, and they said they're already seeing a slight impact or gas prices in Nevada. They're up about a penny a gallon. So they're about a $3.86 for a statewide average up there in Nevada, according to Gas Buddy. The refinery fire, though, it's not just going to be something that the prices go down quickly. They're saying these prices could be affected for several months. They're saying they could go as high as 15 cents a gallon increase as well off of this deal. They did say, Gas Buddy said we're expecting an influx of Asian gas coming into these markets because of the shortages. That will help that gas price come down, but they're still saying expect increases here. Current gas prices, average prices in Arizona, $3.53 as of right now. And that, of course, takes into account all of Arizona that we're looking at. So keep your gas pricing in line here as we go into this winter season and everything. And Rivian, of course, has a big manufacturing plant just south of Phoenix down there in Casa Grande, Florence area. Well, now Rivian wants to open a new repair shop up here in Scottsdale in the Valley. Land use attorneys for Mac Innovation Park. I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. They're going to submit a rezoning application to the city of Scottsdale within 2 to 3 weeks. They basically want to allow for a service and delivery facility within that complex. So, Rivian customers, if this goes through, they'd be able to tune up their vehicles, check out new offerings, and even if you're making an order online, well, or online or at the showroom, you'd be able to pick it up here as well at that Scottsdale location if it works. That Mac Industrial Park where they want to do this at, it's located right off the Loop 101 and Bell Road up there. It has 2 buildings under construction. The whole area is totaling 305,400 square feet. And it's expected to be completed in April of 2026. The plans for phase 2, featuring another, couple buildings out there, is supposed to start after that. The Rivian facility, well, the plans say it's going to take up about 65,566 square feet of the 184,000 square feet of Building C up in that area, if you've seen the plans. The Rivian plans are still in its infancies. They're drawing up the plans to submit there. If the proposal passes through the pre-application phase and developments submit the actual official documents, the city of Scottsdale will have to review, give feedback about a month or so afterwards before the project even goes. But even then, after that, the public will be able to have their say in that moment as well. So very early in the stage, but at least Rivian looking to move up here into the Scottsdale area as well. Let's talk a little movies here as well, because we're going into the winter movie season, and there's some big-time movies coming out, right? And it was a big summer here. Action-packed, blockbuster movies return to the movie theaters this summer as well. But in the fall time here, well, not a lot of people going to the movie. I haven't been to the movies since the summer blockbusters. Nothing in the fall really to draw my attention coming up. But the winter slate of movies is going to come out, and it's going to deliver a consistent spark of ticket sales. So is that going to be a good thing? Well, absolutely, because it's going to take the 2025 domestic haul for movies above $9 billion, which would make that toward a post-pandemic high at that time. Now, that's all based off of estimates right now, but heading into the fourth quarter, the domestic box office, it's tallied $6.5 billion in ticket sales here in 2025. That's higher than the $6.3 billion that happened here in 2024 a year ago. The full year record at the box office is looking to surpass, well, it's looking to get past the record of $9.05 billion. That was put together back in 2023. Here are some of the movies coming out, right? Tron's Ares, there of Disney, as it's coming out. It's going to be the first big movie coming out here in the wintertime, which should create the momentum here for the rest of the year, because then you got Wicked for Good, the second part of the Wicked story, coming out here as well. Zootopia 2 for the kids around Christmas time or Thanksgiving time, I think is where it's going to be. Both of those movies are expected to top $250 million in domestic ticket sales. Then the end of the year, the big movie, right? Avatar, Fire and Ash is expected to make box office waves as well here at that time. But those are the big movies expected to generate large dollars at the movie theater. But you're going to have Black Phone 2, which you see advertised everywhere right now, coming out. That'll be a big movie. Predator Badlands coming out as well. Then you got The Running Man, which is from Paramount. And then Five Nights at Freddy's 2 coming out also in this time frame. So you got the big blockbuster, 3 or 4 movies, and then the other ones expected to generate as well. So projections are here that the fourth quarter box office with these movies is going to reach about $2.5 billion. That'll be a 7% jump year over year. That would put full year revenue at close to the $9.1 billion, 5% higher from 2024. I've seen other projections that say they'll beat that record, right, coming out here this winter. So we'll have to pay attention, but big movies coming up, folks, here in the movie theater. And we just went through a rebranding and a remodeling for one company that didn't go well, and they ended up canceling it all. And after upsetting everybody that shops with them or eats with them, we're talking about Cracker Barrel there. Hopefully, this one goes a little bit smoother here, right? Domino's is looking with a new branding look and even a new commercial and a sound coming their way. They're going to have a bolder color scheme and new jingle created with the help from, a Grammy-nominated musical artist out there. Shabuzi is gonna do a new jingle for them. So Domino's is adding splashier reds and blues to its pizza boxes. It's adopting black and metallic gold motif for the pizza boxes used to deliver, obviously, its pizzas to everybody. The new thicker Domino's Sans front, well, it spells out a tweak to the company name. Domino's. Yeah, look at them get creative. It's also the name of a new jingle created with the help of Shabuzi. If you don't know Shabuzi, he did the bar song, right? Tipsy. Look that up. You'll know the song. Domino's new look will be rolling out into stores, TV, social media, Domino's website and app over the coming months, according to Domino's. And what's coming? Interesting thing here is hopefully this remodel goes a lot better than, and rebranding goes a lot better than, what another company went through there at Cracker Barrel and everything. I like them. I think they're special boxes. I think they're not doing anything to upset anybody. But global sales rose about 6% in 2024 for Domino's. Well, their sales have risen 5% over the first 2 quarters of 2025, totaling $9.1 billion. Now, that's U.S. and international sales for Domino's out there. We get all that from the second quarter 2025 financial results. And Domino's is the one major pizza company that is kind of bucking trend sales going downward at that point as well. They've been outperforming their competitors this year. Domino's has. Rebrand coming the way as well. And look at that. Now I'm hungry out there. So hopefully that remodel goes a little bit easier than the Cracker Barrel one did, folks. In the midst of this government shutdown, we appreciate you joining us here at McCollum on Business. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday's edition, 11 o'clock, of course, live. We hit it up at Robat TV on the YouTube page right afterwards. Catch it there as well. Share us with your friends. We'd appreciate it. And, folks, we'll see you all tomorrow, 11 o'clock here, McCollum on Business.